Sure, you could buy a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or even a Maybach, but you could also buy this, the 2024 Kia Carnival, which has a starting price of just $35,000 and it works its way up to $46,000 for this, the SX Prestige package, which gives you a VIP second row experience with fully power retractable heated ventilated seats with third zone climate controls and even their own entertainment displays in the back. How cool is that? But it also comes as a regular 8-passenger minivan or substitute for a 3-row SUV. And we'll go through all the details in this video as we talk about the exterior, the interior, the powertrain. Of course, we'll take it for a drive. So moving on to the exterior, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Carnival is one of the best looking minivans ever produced. And to me, the reason for that is because it looks more like an SUV than it does like a minivan. So for example, if we take a look at these fender bulges here, and it's more obvious here at the front, that's not traditionally a minivan feature, but I think it looks pretty good. We have this black plastic side trim, which is more of a rugged thing to add, and it sits a bit higher off the ground. We have these fairly aggressive roof rails. The roofline itself doesn't slope down nearly as harshly as a lot of minivans, and so to me, it looks fairly stout, butch, and aggressive, more like something like an off-road SUV. Now, you can't hide everything. Obviously, these roof rails for these sliding rear doors, which are obviously very massive as well, are harder to hide, and that does tell you that it is, in fact, a minivan. But overall, I think it looks less lame like most minivans design, and so Kia is proving that minivans don't have to be boring. Moving on to the cool features, we can go ahead and take a look at the key. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a cool, different design key, but more important is the functionality. You have the power holding for both sides of the doors, auto start, lock and unlock, which in this case, we actually have power folding mirrors, which fold in here when the vehicle is locked, and when you unlock it, they'll fold out, which is quite a nice feature with integrated turn signals. We also have a power hatch, which means if we come around here to the back, if your hands are full, you're worried about the kids, whatever, it's easy to open up and you get access to your storage or the third row if you have it up in the vehicle. So that's quite a nice feature there as well, and you can easily use the buttons to drop it down in a pinch. You do get some 19-inch black alloy wheels here on the SX Prestige, so these are a little bit bigger than the factory options, but that's just so you know. We also have this ceramic silver color, which every single company seems to have in their arsenal these days, this concrete gray. We do get LED lighting all around. You have struts and multi-link suspension underneath, roof rails, panoramic roof, locking on all 4 doors, which is nice for keyless entry, tinted windows in the back, this textured finish here on the side, which is quite nice. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, LED lighting all around. That includes the rear, little color-keyed spoiler. All in all, not a bad looking vehicle, and I really like what they did. So moving on to the interior, we go ahead and take a look. The Carnival normally has seating for 8, but in this case, with our VIP seating here in the second row, which we'll talk about more in a sec here, you actually have seating for 7, meaning there's seating for 3 if you open up the third row, but that ruins all of your storage capabilities. So not something you'll likely use in a road trip, but it's available in a pinch. If we take a look at the general interior styling, it's a very good looking vehicle. Kia has been killing it and is definitely one of the more forward looking brands as far as the usability and just general styling of their interiors. We can see in this particular instance, we have this two-tone interior, which has this brown along with the black for these leather trimmed seats that are perforated in the middle because these are in fact power heated ventilated front seats, and the driver's seat even has memory along with the other variety of controls here, and that even includes controls for the doors and hatches, which is quite nice. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what else we have going on. Push button start, car roars to life, and you can see we have 2 displays here, which are essentially connected to look like one. Digital display here for the driver, which could of course be adjusted to your liking, but it also features a variety of sport modes. So you can adjust it to Eco, which will limit your throttle response, Sport to make it more dynamic, and of course a smart driving mode as well. You have a variety of controls here on the steering wheel, which makes it nice and easy to use. And this is even a leather wrapped steering wheel that also has heated functionality next to our ventilated and our heated controls for the seats, which is quite nice. If we take a look at the center display here, this does have navigation, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. It can be a bit much to get through some of the menus to adjust features, which can be a little bit distracting, but it's certainly not the worst system out there, but it's not as good as Toyota's either. It doesn't make the vehicle unusable. It's just know that you're going to struggle with it a little bit if you're not great with technology, but it does have a variety of haptic feedback controls down here that are physical separate buttons. So that makes it easy to jump to specific things you might be looking for, like media, for example, or even if you want to jump to maps. So that's great that they have that there, makes it easier to use. Below that, we have our climate control, which in this vehicle is actually going to be 3-zone, meaning the driver gets their own adjustments, passenger gets their own adjustments, but the VIP second row also gets their adjustments, which can be found up here on the passenger side of the vehicle, but it can also be adjusted from here in the front. You do get USB controls, wireless charger, our shifter for our automatic transmission, which can go into drive, but also has a sport mode if you slap it over. You do get cup holders, those drive mode buttons, auto hold, electronic parking brake, and a nice storage spot here in the back. But if we're being completely honest, the front is not the most interesting part of this vehicle. Let's go ahead and hop in the second row. Go ahead and open the vehicle. And of course, power rear doors, which open nice, quickly, and easily, and we get access to the VIP. This is the whole point of the SX Prestige package, is this second row. And to me, this is such a cool feature. Like if you were a business and we're gonna be shuttling people from the airport, or maybe you just want a luxury vehicle, you travel a lot, whatever the case is, you have adults, this is a really cool bargaining package that is certainly going to be better than any of the even luxury vehicles that are significantly more expensive than this. Now let's go ahead and hop in and see what all is going on. Notice these seats are also perforated. Power door close here. These are power adjustable, but they also are heated and ventilated. It's a hot day today. Turn on the ventilated seats, and as I have this one set up, can be fully reclined if you want to lay back and enjoy yourself. But you may have also noticed these screens. Turn these on. There's also a kids theme if you have kids back here, and you have a variety of entertainment features that are all available through these screens, which is incredibly cool. If I was a kid, I'd have a field day back here. You have your adjusting shade structures, plenty of legroom, and these can be moved further back than they are currently. These are actually fairly far forward at the moment, but so much room. I mean, this is such a great setup. Even some adjustments here for the front passengers to move. You have your own chargers and things like that. Cameras to keep an eye on in the back of, and they get their own moonroof, which is quite nice, although it's quite hot right now. All the vents are also available, but man, what a vehicle. And as you can see in the back, plenty of storage with the third row down, but it's available with its hidden seat belts. But this is what it's about, and the SX Prestige is by far one of the coolest minivans that looks like an SUV ever produced. Under the hood is a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6, good for 290 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission, no CVT here, and this thing is fairly quick. It weighs around 4,650 pounds, but will achieve 0 to 60 in 7 seconds, a quarter mile in 15.3 seconds, with a limited top speed of 118 miles per hour, which means even with this vehicle loaded up with cargo and such, it should be fairly fast and easy to get you uphill or even cross country wherever you're going. This should not have a problem, but you might be more focused on fuel economy. So let's go ahead and talk about that. This vehicle has an EPA rated 19 miles per gallon city, 26 miles per gallon highway, with 22 miles per gallon combined. And given that it has a 19-gallon fuel tank, that means you should have an average range of 418 miles. However, with that higher highway range, if you are road tripping it, you can expect a further range. But all in all, not bad. That is a fairly sizable range and a fairly fast minivan. This thing will smoke a lot of performance cars from the 1980s and some of these slower cars from the 1990s. That is incredibly impressive for a vehicle of this size, and great range and somewhat decent fuel economy for a large vehicle. So what's it like to drive the Kia Carnival? Well, it's actually quite a nice experience. Obviously, not having a CVT also makes the general driving experience very smooth and more fun to operate. General visibility is quite good out of this vehicle, which generally with a larger vehicle, you expect it to be a little bit worse. Now, I will say this, while the forward visibility is fantastic and you can see everything, the rear view mirror can be obstructed by the second row seats if they're in the upright position. That being said, Kia, being a forward-thinking company, thought of a solution to that. Now, unfortunately, the rear view mirror should have been a video option in my opinion, but if you go ahead and push the camera buttons, which are available right here at the bottom, the center display actually turns into a rear view camera. So that solves that problem right there. Not to mention, when you put it in reverse, the actual backup cameras and angle predicting software that's in this car is actually pretty good too. One of the other things you might have just noticed is when the turn signal comes on in the car, the driver digital display here actually shows you what's in your blind spot thanks to cameras which are installed on each of the outside mirrors, which is also a great, very nice forward-looking feature. So right there, you've already solved some of the bigger problems with driving bigger cars. Now, as far as the actual driving characteristics go, it's pretty good. It's fairly fast, had no problem speeding up to get up to highway speeds here as we merge with traffic. And once you actually get going, it's fairly quiet. There's a little bit of engine noise that's pumped in, but it's not unpleasant by any means. It's fairly smooth as well. The shifts are very nice, and you won't really notice as the vehicle shifts. And it's generally just quite a nice experience. There is a little bit of road noise, but that's always to be kind of expected on the freeway. But all in all, I'm genuinely impressed. And you know, you have a variety of noise canceling features that are also available because of that Bose sound system that's installed in this car. And so if you really wanted to, you could also use that to sort of tune out some of the various ambient sounds. Or if your passengers are just wearing headphones, they won't even hear it at all anyways. The vehicle stops pretty well, it accelerates really well, and the steering, while not dynamic by any means, is certainly fine. It's gonna be good enough for anybody looking for a minivan, not really a sporting experience anyways. So I'm thoroughly impressed with this, and the fact that this thing can work as like a VIP chauffeur vehicle, or if you buy the larger 8-person seating version to fit all your kids, I think it's just a great experience. And I'm actually really impressed with what Kia brings to the table with their minivan offering in the form of the Carnival. Just don't call it a circus. So let's be honest, you're probably not cross-shopping a Rolls Royce, a Bentley, or even a Maybach with the Kia Carnival. But it should be said that it's still a really interesting package option that's available from Kia. I mean, how many luxurious minivans, or even SUVs for that fact, exist with features like this on the inside, especially at this price point? You know, in other countries, it's actually really common to have luxury minivan type things, especially in Japan. We just don't get those models here in the States. There are, of course, third-party manufacturers which modify those vehicles here in the States and will sell them to you, but this is from a manufacturer covered under warranty. And so it's a really cool option whether you're looking for a business vehicle of sorts for VIP options, or you're just looking for something for yourself or your family to transport in. This is a great option. And the Kia Carnival as a whole, even the standard 8-passenger options, if you're just looking for a minivan or even a 3-row SUV, you should consider this because the powertrain is very impressive, especially a real automatic transmission, no CVT here, makes this quite the bargain at this price point. So definitely give it a try. But in the comment sections, feel free to let me know down below what you think about the Kia Carnival. Do you already own one? What's your experience with it? Let us know down below. That's going to be the end of the video. If you could go ahead and hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And consider getting subscribed for more content like this in the future. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.